All right. Let's see here. Let's do this. How's the sound? Can everyone hear me? Excellent. All right, Danielle. It's not Danielle. It was. Yeah, there you go. All right. We have about 2 more minutes, so we're gonna wait until 7 o'clock comes around. Glad you guys are on board here. Good. How's everyone doing tonight? Everyone have a fun day? I always look forward to this evening. It's not only do I like to draw, but it's fun to help you guys out as best I can. So I'm glad you all are here. All right, let's get started here because, all right, Elbin. Elbin, I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce your name correctly there. Elbin, is that right? And if it's wrong, I'm going to have to figure it out. Oh, your day has been grand, Danielle. Excellent. And Russell's like in the middle of the night across the pond in England. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? So tonight we're going to continue talking about just drawing the head. And what I want to do is, let's start off with a couple different things here. There is like this idea, and I think people can make drawing the head a lot more difficult than it actually is. So a lot of times we'll start off with a sphere, and then we'll determine where to put the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And I kind of like to think of it slightly different. So you actually can take any shape, especially when you get into character design. And that's when you're going to have a lot of fun. Trying to draw the face can be very difficult because because it can be very frustrating. So let's try and take as much frustration out of it as we can. So here are a number of round shapes. They could all be heads, but this is what we want to remember. We want to remember that we're always going to have a center line. And on each one of these heads, I have put a center line on different directions. So let's just say this head we'll call A, B, C, D, and E. So on head number A, the eyes, the head is looking off into the direction to the right. Head B is looking off to its left, and you can see just where I put that center line is determining which direction the head is looking. So let's go to A now. If I think of the eye line, and I like to think not so much as the eye line, but the brow line. And I'm going to hold my pencil up so you can see. This is the brow line. It goes right through the brows, right across the top of the eyes almost, okay? So if we look at A and we're going to draw the brow line and he is looking up, we're going to want to come around like this. If on B he's going to be looking down, we want to draw the brow line like this. And then let's also make C looking down. And then let's make D looking up. And then for E, I'm going to go, it's looking straight at us. So a lot of times when I'm drawing a head, the first thing I'm looking for is that relationship between the brow line and the ears. Because like in A, since this is, if he is looking up, the ears are going to be lower than the brow line. In B, the ears are going to be higher than the brow line. C is also going to be higher. D is going to be lower. And E is going to be almost exactly straight across. So when I'm drawing someone's portrait, these are the first characteristics I'm looking for all the time is what is the relationship of the brow line to the position of the ears? Sometimes in some books they will talk about the T, looking for the T, and the T is going to be the center line to where the brow line is. And it forms a letter T. Then the next thing I want to look for when I'm doing this is where is the temple. All right, so if you take your fingers and it's usually right on the outside of your eyebrows, you will feel like two nolds. And I don't have a skull to show you. Actually, I do downstairs. Oh yeah, hold on, I'm gonna go get it. All right, I'm back. So the temple is going to be right here on either side of the skull, right where my fingers are. Okay, and so that's the next thing we want to look for. So if I take a look at A, my temples are going to be right about there. Let's look at B. B, it's going to be right about there. C, and then D, and then of course E. All right. Then the next thing we want to do is take a look at the skull, and looking straight at it, you will notice that the sides are extremely flat, very flat. Is that right? Flat. And then if we turn on the side, we can see that the skull actually goes back a lot further. So when I'm drawing on my drawing here, the first thing I want to do is kind of indicate that flatness. So starting at A on the temple here, I'm going to draw just like a side. And we can indicate that with a sphere. It's almost like we slice the side of the head off and it becomes very flat. And we'll do that for each one. And a lot of times the head is turned so much that you won't even be able to see that. But these ideas that I'm showing you right now, this is what you want to practice over and over. Trying just to get the simple form, find the temple, find that T, find that center line, and then find the side of the head there. Okay? So let's look at some measurements here. So typically the down the temple, and I could even use my head as an example. My temple's right there. It's going to go right there to the top of my ear. The bottom of my ear will typically line up with the bottom of the nose. Okay? So those are two really good distinctions that we're looking for. So top of ear. All right. Let's get this one here. Okay. On B, let's look at C here. It's like turning a corner almost. All right, next. I'll let you get all caught up there. Are we experiencing any lags? I have an error on my end here that says that you guys might be experiencing some lags. But we'll just keep going because I don't know how to fix that. Okay, next. Let's look at this here. Let's look at the jawline. Jawline comes down. I could feel the corner of my jaw right there, and then it just circles down. So the idea is this right here. That on our skull, you're going to jawline comes down, and then it's going to circle right around. Okay, we got a minor lag. We're just going to have to roll with that. Thank you very much, Russell. So on A, if I drop, I'm going to drop a little line right by the ear, because that's where this front of the ear, that's where this corner is, and then I'm going to sweep it around. All right? And let's do that to B too. I'm going to drop it down, and I'm going to sweep it around. And we'll do C. Sweep it around. And now on D, he's looking up, so it's going to be something like this. And E, it's coming like this. All right, so that's basically your basic head shape. And from there then, once you have that, now we can start adding extra things. We could start adding the nose, we could figure out where the eyes go, but this shape, this volume, it's more of a volume than a shape. This is what you really want to get in the back of your head as you're drawing people's portraits. There's a saying that I always like to use is construction gives way to likeness. If you're having trouble getting somebody's likeness, more than likely it's your construction that is off. So let's go to A here. And of course, let's just keep the nose simple. It's going to be coming down like that. Let's go to B, same thing. C and D. Now D is looking up, so we kind of want to show the nose almost like this. Okay? And an E, we're just going to do a simple shape like this. Yeah, that nose on D is, I mean, in one sense, you could think of the nose almost as like a half a cone. I mean, if you want to get very simple, it's really almost what it is. It's a half of a cone. All right, next thing what we want to do, and it's very visible on the skull here, and I'll show you. This right here is the ball of the mouth. And so you really could see that there is a ball that the skin wraps around, the lips wraps around, the chin wraps around. So let's go ahead and add that ball area. Oh, same for me. Can't see or hear. Oh, hold on. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to end the stream. Oh, now it says I have an excellent connection. Are we back? Looks like we're doing better now. Okay. All right, let's move on. It looks like we have our chin freeze, but can see the jets. Now steadily, it's all froze. Eeh. Now it's better. All right, sorry everyone. Yes, good now. Okay, we're gonna keep going then. So the last thing we did is we added chins, as you could see. That's going to go right underneath the ball of the mouth area. And then the last thing, and we haven't even talked about where the eyes go. So the thing with the eyes is we have two planes, and the eyes will come in. So look at A here. This will be a good example. Typically, we'll have one plane that comes down like this, and then the plane comes all the way down here like this. Okay? And then let me show it to you on this big guy here. So it comes down, and then it comes back out. And we'll do it here. There. I'm going to do it for each one. And then our eyes our eyeballs sit right there at that intersection. And usually the center of those eyes, the pupil, will line up with the outer part of the ball of the mouth. This will be available. I will have this available for us that you can go back in here and get all these down. So on this no-name one, we'll call this X. This is the head that's looking straight at us here, and I'm quickly dropping everything in. All right, so those are our basic shapes. our basic fundamental things that we drop down. Okay, I'm going to add a new layer here and take that down. So where I want you to think about our practice is simply just look for this idea here. Look for that T and just draw these pieces until you get really comfortable where things go. Get that basic form down, and then you can start getting more and more complicated as you go along. Any questions on any of that? All right. Okay, let's go ahead then and actually draw a face and implement those ideas, okay? So the first face I have here is this girl, and she is, of course, let's see. What if you can't find the mouth? Can't find the mouth in the face. What if you can't find the mouth in the face? You know, when I would say that when you start to get accustomed to all the construction, and then it just kind of falls into place. Does that? I'm not sure if that answers your question, Danielle, but that is how I would approach it. So, in a face like this, typically a lot of people will, I will see them start off with a round, a lot of times when they start drawing a face, they'll start with a circle, eventually that being a sphere, but I don't like to do it that way, actually. So this is just the way that I like to approach it. And usually when I draw, I always start off with a gesture drawing. That kind of gives me a general feel for things. Then I go into construction, and then I go into detail. So when I'm looking at this face right here, I'm going to add one more layer here. This is what I see, okay? I almost see like a straight line over here, and then I see an angled line over here on this side. So when I'm going to draw my face, this is where I start off with my gesture. So I'm going to start off with a straight line over there and an angle line over here. And then the next thing I ask is, okay, is she looking down or is she looking up? Well, she's looking down. So now with this, now I can kind of get an idea of where that brow line is going. And now at this point, what I would do, me personally, I would start to work in, get this shape or volume going. And I'm still going very light here. I'm trying to get the gesture. So it's sometimes can be hard to get that jaw to drop down. It's sometimes hard to get that jaw to drop down in the right place of the sphere. So I will start off with my gesture. I try and look for straights and then angles. And usually when I'm drawing the face, there's always going to be a straight or an angle. Okay, let's go ahead and get her center line in. And I can see her center line is going to be right about there. That's going to give me that T. And then I want to find her temple. And let's see, her temple's going to be right about there. And so I can see that this is coming around like this. All right. And let's go ahead and get that, let's get that side of the head in. And I can see that her ear is going to be somewhere right about here. And then her nose, let's get her nose in here. And her nose is going to, now I'm looking at the distance between her eyes and her nose. So it's going to be about there. And then I could even drop in her mouth, which is just a little bit lower. And then I could drop in the ball of the mouth. It's going to be right about there. All right. And we also have our chin coming in. And so all I'm doing is I'm starting to add all these little pieces here. All right. So let me show you. Right. This is that part of the eyes. Okay. I'm just erasing that so we can keep seeing her face there. Okay, next. All right, let's get this nose in here now. If you remember last week, we if we take that ball approach, you could do that, or often I like to draw my noses thinking they're kind of like a tie. So up here, I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come out. Then her eyeballs are going to be somewhere around here about. And then the mouth, so let's just say this is our ball of the mouth. We have the corners of the mouth. Her corners, you can see where her corners are, right there and right there. So her corners are going to be right there and right there. And a lot of times when you have like the pupil of the eye will a lot of times line up with the corner of the mouth. And the inside part of the eye will line up with the outside of the wings of the nose. Okay? All right, so we have our center here. We have our corners of the mouth. So we're just going to come in. All right, there's the top of the mouth. And then we want to observe very carefully, and I'm going to zoom in here so you can actually take a look at her lips here. Look, this is the center of her lips. So when we draw the bottom of our lip, we want to make sure that this side is shorter than when we get to this side here, okay? And also look where the lip actually will start right about there. And then we want to come across nice and long over there. Okay, let's look at her chin. Now, it's interesting. If I zoom in here and look at her chin, look where this side, this is her chin. And if I visually, I could look to see, oh, look, this lines up almost with the center of her nose. Here is the center of her chin. So once again, you could see that's what we have to account for. Oops. So on our chin, we're going to come down center of the nose, like I just said. All right. All right, let's get these eyebrows in. And there is, at this point of the drawing, I'm just kind of jumping around to, there is no exact order, but you'll just find your own order. Sometimes I'll jump around quite a bit. So in this case, I want to get these eyebrows in. And of course, then moving on to her eyes, her eyeballs are like this. And since we're looking down at her, it's going to come around. Her eyelashes are kind of coming out here. And then this upper part of her eyelid is coming like that. So let's do that here. This is going to come around. And then we got the other one. All right, let's kind of work in the side of her head. So let's get this cheek on on her far right side. So I'm going to zoom in here. Look at her cheek. I'm going to change color here. Look how far that cheek is out. Look at that temple. Look at those relationships there. Look how much of that angle's in there. You see that? Okay, so let's put this into our drawing here. All right, so we're going to get that. We got that right there. Great. And then remember, this comes almost straight down here. And then we're going to come right underneath her chin there. And then going back to the top, I can see this little thing happening here. And then we're going to round out for her forehead. Okay. I'm going to come all the way around now, get the bottom part of her head. And then now I've realized that look at this mistake I made, which is fine because I make mistakes all the time. The bottom of my ear straight across is lining up with the middle of her eyeball. Where over here, it's actually lining up with her nose. So that's fine. I can make that quick adjustment right now. So it should be down here. Okay. And then her hair is coming around. So this now I've got the lower part of her head down. Now I'm going to look at this here. I want to look at the top part of her head. So let me show you this. So I'm really kind of just looking at that shape right there. Okay. Now I'm not going to draw that, but I'm thinking of that in my head here. So all right. Oops. All right, let's go ahead and try and find her. Let's get her brow line here. So her brow line. Now I'm just kind of looking. I'm judging this shape. I'm looking at this area right there. All right. So that's kind of what I'm matching. I'm going to come around. See, once you start getting these shapes in, it gets easier to get all your pieces in place. And now her bun is just kind of coming back here like this. I'm just going to quickly put a shape back there. Dropping in her shoulder there. All right, now look at this. Look at where her this side is coming in contact almost right there with her lips. And then next thing I want to do, now I'm looking at this negative shape here. I'm looking at that negative shape and I'm going to try and match that shape. So a lot of times when it comes to drawing, sometimes I'm thinking of shape, sometimes I'm thinking of volume, and those are all, I had a teacher once call them the tools of measurement. Those are our tools of measurement that we'll use to try and get our proportions right and get everything placed up nicely. Okay, we'll continue on here. Let's look at this hair. Let's have fun with this hair here for a second. All right, let's look at it in batches. So, like as I'm looking, I think you could see this. There is a little bit of a reflection here. So we have one bit of hair coming like this. Then I could see another part of her hair going back like that. And I'm just going to not do all of the lines, but just some of them to get a sense. Now this, right about here, this is coming way up like this. And then everything's converging right into this bun here. And now I'm going to go into this bun and break this down just a little bit. So we have this. have this nice negative. Do you see that? You see this negative space right there? That negative shape? That's awesome. We want to try and capture that. All right, then she's got some hair coming out here. Another piece out there. I'm thinking as I'm drawing this, not as individual hairs, but as volumes. Now I am using the program Procreate on my Apple iPad, of course, but all of these things, you know, if I was drawing on my sketchbook, all these things would be possible also in your sketchbook. All right, let's get some of these. Let's get a little more detail here. I'm going to come down here with the her cheeks. She has a little bit of a dimple here. All right, let's get some of this ear here. Let's look at this ear for a second. This is interesting. So there's the outer shape of her ear. This piece is coming around like this. And then there's always, when I'm drawing the ear, I'm always looking for what they call the Y of the ear. And it's right here. That's the Y of the ear. Everybody has it. Okay, so first part when I'm drawing the ear, I'll look for the C form. And then it comes down here just like this. So we're going to have this come in here. There's that Y. It comes out. And then this usually comes in like this. And that's basically our ear. Now, there's so many variations of that, but if you look for that Y of the ear, that will really clue you into a lot going on. All right, I'm going to add some tone now to it because I think that will help read some highlights and stuff. If you are, of course, it's easier for me because I could put it on a different layer, but if you are using a pencil or a colored pencil, just a light tone will suffice it for you. All right. And when it comes to shading, especially if you're going to use a digital surface, I usually like to, when I'm doing the skin, I like to go in this direction, lower diagonal, okay, to get from a lighter tone to a darker tone. So let's start off with like a mid-tone. Now it will be a matter of just going lighter and darker. So I could go up in this angle here. Now if you were drawing this at home, if you're drawing this with markers or pencils, you would want to go in with a lighter tone and then slowly build up. Just literally the opposite of what I'm doing here. But I'm going to put in, make it a little bit smaller there. We've got And all I'm looking right now is for certain highlights. All right. Remember, this is the lighter tone here. All right, I'm going to switch over to a darker tone. And once again, I'm using those original construction areas to help me tell me where some of the light is falling. And I'm going to take it one step darker here. This dial over here, this controls my brush size. And I'm going to even get her lips in here. Bottom lip sometimes is slightly, bottom lip is slightly lighter than the top lip. Okay. And then let's bring in some really light tones here. Get some of these highlights. Look at that one. It comes right in there. Get this lovely dimple. Just using one tone. I'm not changing my color at all. All right, and let's just drop in a nice black tone for that hair. And I'm not going to go totally black. I'm going to go with a bit of a gray. Oops. All right, now let's get a little darker tone there. I've used Photoshop a lot to do this, and you know, me personally, I've just come to a conclusion that I really am enjoying Procreate. This is I just like how this thing feels. It's easy. It's very compared to buying Photoshop and all the things that go along with that. I just like this. Oops. And I'm going to add this tone back here one more time there. Get a little bit over there. Okay. Well, there's our head for today. We have gone about 10 minutes left. Any questions or anything I need to go back over? And you know what's interesting as I'm looking at this, you know, her nose, I didn't even look how I didn't even develop her nose at all. I just went with our original construction without going into great detail. But look at that. It still works. It works at this level because you know, the construction is close. We just didn't get the details. So just remember, the construction will give way to likeness. You get all those construction points down and you'll earn business. Any last questions on this? No? Okay, well, I think we're going to end it here. Thanks for watching, everyone, and sorry for the hiccup halfway through, but I think we finished up on a nice solid note here. We do have a Facebook group, and I will add that. What pen are you using? Oh, great question, Alvin. It's an Apple. It's an Apple pencil. This is the first generation of Apple pencil, and it works great. I absolutely love it. There's a newer version, but this one is just dynamite. Okay. Not my day. We'll have to start over. Russell, don't sweat it, buddy. We always start over. Okay. This stuff, I can remember the first time when it all clicked for me. I did this absolutely gorgeous charcoal portrait, and then the next portrait I drew, it went all to crap. So it will hit and miss, and then you will find over time you'll start making more hits than misses. But just keep going at it, okay? Okay, everybody, have a great night. Please like the videos and subscribe if you're not, and I appreciate it. All right. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.